Oh, sugar honey iced tea. It's the EAC Show.
Good day, ladies and gents. I'm Emilio A. Colon.
And I am Marcus Mack, and this is the EAC Show coming to you from sunny South Florida with episode 90. Emilio, we had a huge weekend for sports, man. Big weekend for sports.
I don't know whether to call you Marcus Mack or to call you Vladimir, because you got your Vladimir Guerrero Toronto Blue Jays flag jersey on right now.
Now, listen, I'm going to tell you why, right? Because, you know, I want to say neutral, so I'm going with MLB today, right? I do not have a Denver Nuggets jersey, which I will be getting one. You know what I'm saying? I don't even have an LA jersey, but if I get one, I'm getting an Anthony Davis Lakers jersey. I gotta have it. Gotta have it, bro. Gotta have it.
So much to discuss. We got NBA talk. We got NFL talk. I mean, congratulations to primetime Deion Sanders on becoming a head coach. What is it? Jackson State. Jackson State is what it's called? Jackson State?
Jackson, Mississippi.
Yeah, Jackson State University. It's a historical black college. So shout out to him. You got to call him Coach Prime from now on. You know, Marcus, you and I were discussing a little bit about that.
Which is well-deserved.
Yeah, well-deserved. We're going to touch a little bit about that, Marcus. Not too much, but because we're going to focus more on the NBA playoffs and we're going to focus more on football. But, Marcus, do you feel like Deion Sanders or Coach Prime should have or could have went to a bigger school?
I mean, yeah, I'm quite sure you could have went to a bigger school or a better school, so to speak. But I think it's more about setting a bar because, you know, out of all the places, you know, Deion Sanders is out of Fort Myers, Florida, man. Out of Fort Myers, he went to school in Florida. I think he went to Florida State, right? And you know, of course, there's a plethora of colleges he could have went through, bro. He could have went to North Carolina. He could have went to Florida A&M. He could have went to Howard. It's a whole lineup of schools he could have possibly went to. He chose to go to Jackson, Mississippi, and take his talents there. I feel like there's so much that he can do. Not only is this going to bring a lot of attention to Jackson, but it's going to bring a whole lot of money to Jackson as well. We're talking about kids that's now who probably wanted to go to Texas to go to school, or they might have wanted to go to Louisiana to go to school. Now, I'm going to Mississippi.
I hear a lot of the cop-out to where people are like, he chose to go to the school because there's less pressure on him. And that's understandable. You know, that's his first major gig. You know, you want the eyes to be on you. And, you know, pressure is a privilege. It's a famous saying by Billie Jean King. But in all actuality, I don't think he's going there because of that. I think he's going there because he wants to get his feet wet. Any mistakes that he makes won't get as scrutinized because he's at a much, much smaller school. Right. So it's a learning curve for him more than anything else. So congratulations to him and his family. And I hope nothing but success for Coach Prime, Deion Sanders, and the players over at Jackson State University.
And then, you know what I feel too? I feel like, you know, he'd have a lot more breathing room there. Like it won't be, like you said, he won't, every little step won't be scrutinized as much as if he was at a bigger school. You know, I would have expected him to go to a bigger school, being that, you know, their budget is a whole lot bigger. You know what I'm saying? You know, the budget as far as bringing other kids there and having, and you know, having a bigger budget as far as developing players. But I think that, you know, Shannon Sharp said it himself. He said, man, listen, coaching is in his blood. He loves it. You understand what I'm saying? So I would love to see, like now, this year, more than any other year, people are going to be paying attention to Mississippi, to Jackson State.
So congratulations to Coach Deion Sanders prime time on his new gig with Jackson State University. Marcus, we got a lot of football to cover. A lot of football to cover. Once again, I think you're winning this week. Shout out to you. Your picks are doing well. But I think your picks are doing well by one pick because a lot of the picks that we made, Marcus, we made picks on the teams that were going to win the game, but we also agreed on the opposite teams to cover the spread. And right. A lot of those picks didn't happen. A lot of those teams that we thought were going to stay in games got blown out.
Yeah, there was a lot of hiccups this weekend with a few teams. I can't even lie, man. Just let's get this one out of the way because I just want to get them out my head real quick. The Atlanta Falcons, something needs to be done over there. I have never something needs to be done with the Atlanta Falcons. I think I don't know if they need a new coach. I don't know if they need to just take the rest of the season off and figure their life out. I don't know what's going on. We all know Miami Dolphins is some fuck ups. You know what I'm saying? But that's neither here nor there. We're gonna stay in Atlanta for right now.
So Marcus, here's the thing right now with the Dallas Cowboys and Atlanta Falcons game. This is the difference to where you would have all of the talk shows ripping the Cowboys for being 0-2, which they should be 0-2 because Atlanta had absolutely no fucking business losing that game. None. No business. You got a bunch of derelicts that don't know the rules. There was an onside kick that they could have picked up. They didn't pick it up. They didn't know the rules, and then they end up giving the ball over to the Dallas Cowboys, and then the Dallas Cowboys kick a game-winning field goal to win the game. Everybody's going ecstatic. They're 1-1. They're excited. They're happy. But if you really, really think about it, the Dallas Cowboys should easily be 0-2, and all rain down hell should be coming on them, and all their fans will, we suck, we're terrible, Dak doesn't need to get paid. All of that is completely non-existent this week because of the idiocy of the Atlanta Falcons and their coach. You cannot blow games like that.
Yeah, there's no way. We can't put Dallas up on this pedestal. Sorry, Cam. We can't put Dallas up on this pedestal just because of this, because I feel like that was definitely a choke on the Atlanta Falcons' behalf. Big choke.
Big choke, huge choke. It sucks, man. It really does, because if you really think about it, the Atlanta Falcons played a really good game, and then all of a sudden they just let the Dallas Cowboys come into the game playing prevent defense and doing stupid shit that didn't even make no sense. So Dallas ends up winning a 1-point game in Dallas, 40-39. Then we got the best team, in my opinion, in all of football right now, which is the Green Bay Packers, beating up on the Detroit Lions. They beat them by 21, and Aaron Rodgers once again looks magnificent.
Which, I mean, they played an excellent game, but the Lions, we're gonna call them the Detroit Cats from now on because they blew it too. Them, I feel like the Dolphins could have had something going on. They did. Detroit could have had something going on. Oh man, like so many chokes this weekend. Jesus.
It's crazy to me. And you know what? You can't keep losing games when you have leads in, and it's stupid to me. And Aaron Rodgers just proves that he's just the best. And that makes, in my opinion, this is just my opinion, that makes that Jordan Love pick even more dumb, because Jordan Love is not going to see the field. Aaron Rodgers playing like he has a chip on his shoulder. He's out to prove to everybody, hey, man, leave me alone. Go find me help. Don't worry about me. This spot right here is on smash for a really, really good long time. And I just feel like that was a wasted pick in Jordan Love. The wide receivers are doing their thing. And it's easy when you can do your thing, when you have a quarterback that just nail you and you can just catch the ball. You don't have to worry about nothing. Our next game that we're going to discuss the Indianapolis Colts versus the Minnesota Vikings. And the Vikings are just trash right now, Marcus Mack. They need to get their shit together, real talk.
I mean, we called that game. We called that game, right? That was one we both called that. We called Indianapolis on that game, right?
No, but we said that the Vikings were going to cover.
Silly eye. Silly eye. I mean, Indianapolis is definitely the better team in that matchup. And the Vikings didn't choke. They played their game, but Indianapolis offensively, they couldn't be stopped.
Kirk Cousins had that mentality with the whole COVID situation. If I die. You need to take that mentality out onto the field right now, because right now, I don't know what the hell's going on. You look like shit. Kirk Cousins, you're better than this. Your team is better than this. Your coach deserves better than this, because Mike Zimmer is a really good coach. Get back to what you do best. Give Dalvin Cook the ball. Play action. Get Thielen involved, and let's get this shit moving, because you guys look like utter trash right now. Shout out to the Indianapolis Colts. I really do feel like they should have been 2-0 instead of 1-1, because in my opinion, I have them. They should have never lost to Jacksonville Jaguars, in my opinion. And that's the next game that we're going to get into, so I'm glad I brought that up. We're going to get into your Tennessee Titans, Mr. Ryan Tannehill, Mr. King Henry. They ended up pulling up a 3-point victory on the Jacksonville Jaguars. You know, Jacksonville, they are who we thought they were. Week 1 was a shocking thing. Week 2, they ended up putting 30 points, which is nice. but they still ended up taking the L to the Tennessee Titans. Who the Tennessee Titans are now
Tennessee is
2-0.
2-0, right? Yeah, Tennessee is 2-0, right.
2-0. 2-0. Ryan Tannehill and the boys are 2-0. They're going to end up taking that AFC South because Houston is 0-2. Jacksonville is 1-1, and they're probably going to be on the decline. Indianapolis is 1-1, so I really don't see anybody trying to overtake the Tennessee Titans. I think the Tennessee Titans had a total package. They have defense, they have offense, their kickers getting in line. They'll be straight. They'll win that division easily. Now we're going to get into your headache game. The headache game of the week for Marcus Mack. Marcus was blowing my phone up during this game. He literally was stressing out. He was like, Emilio, please explain to me how in God's green earth do Dolphins fans go through this every week? And it was the Miami Dolphins versus the Buffalo Bills. Buffalo Bills ended up winning by 3 points. And Dolphins literally had a lead in this game, and they blew that too.
Now, just for the record, I want to make this clear. I wanted to get them out of the way because I didn't want to talk about them. But my whole thing is this, right? They was making great plays and then fumbling. Like every time they got a chance, they was fumbling the ball. How do you possibly give up a possession at the 1 yard line? It was easy. It was simple. Oh man, I'm talking about. Listen, I believe they covered the spread though, so nobody lost any money with them, right? But I still felt like they could have did something. Like they had so many opportunities to make that game theirs.
I see optimism because they were in the New England game week 1. So they were in that game playing against Cam Newton and them boys in week 1 up in Foxborough. And week 2, they literally had back and forth leads taken away from them against the Buffalo Bills, who's supposed to win that division. So in all actuality, I'm not too concerned about the Miami Dolphins. The Miami Dolphins look okay. They just have to square a few things out. 6 players on defense, brand new. 6 players on offense that are brand new. They'll figure it out. They'll get things in order. They're a really good team. I think they ended up beating up on Jacksonville this Thursday. That's an 8-20 game. I'm gonna take the Dolphins in that game, Marcus Mack.
Did you catch the one-handed? Did you see the one-handed catch though?
Yeah, by the tight end. Yeah, it was good.
Yeah, he did. Yeah. It was that possession.
Then we're gonna discuss my shitty ass New York Jets. They're awful. They're atrocious. Like Marcus Mack has said, right now everything in New York is sucky. This is terrible.
Other than Buffalo.
I need to take aspirin before the game starts just to get my headache, like to get a head start on my headache. The San Francisco 49ers had no Mostert, no Joey Bosa, no Thomas, no DeGrappolo, and they still smacked the shit out of my team. They win 31-13. This is ridiculous. Like, Adam Gase should be fired by week 4. Stop wasting people's time. Seriously, Marcus Mack. I don't even want to fucking discuss this game anymore. I want to get to the next game. We're gonna talk about the LA Rams, which I was completely wrong on. They completely made me look like an idiot. They came to the East Coast from the West Coast.
Philly, 0-2, Philly. What's going on, Philly?
They smacked the shit out of the Philadelphia Eagles. Yo, Philly, listen, you need to go talk to Meek Mills or whoever else you got to talk to.
Get Gilly the Kid on the phone, man. Get Gilly the Kid on the phone. They need a pep talk. They need Wallow in the in the room with them.
Them boys right now are horrific. It's awful right now in Philadelphia. That shit is just straight garbage.
Yeah, man. They definitely need a pep talk. They need Eric Thomas in the locker room with them. They need something.
Yeah, ET would definitely motivate them. ET be like, he'd be like, yo, when you want to breathe, when you want to succeed more than you want to breathe, then you will be successful.
Yeah, that's a fact.
The next game we're gonna talk about the Pittsburgh Steelers versus the Denver Broncos, and I'm upset at this game because I took Pittsburgh to cover the spread. Pittsburgh didn't cover the spread. The Broncos covered the spread. This should have been a blowout game. The starter for the Denver Broncos got hurt in the first quarter, didn't see the rest of the game. Pittsburgh was up a lot, and they just took it easy. They ended up getting a 5-point win. This was nonsense. This was literally such a sucker's bet that a lot of people lost money on because Denver has no business even being in this ball game with a backup quarterback, Marcus.
And just for the record, big shout-outs to the Broncos defense.
Oh, yeah, they showed up to play, but when you think about it, when we're talking about the Pittsburgh Steelers, full health, Connor was healthy, all your wide receivers, Big Ben throwing the ball, and that defense that's really, really good, there's no way they shouldn't have won by 14 points, Marcus Mack. The next game on the slate is going to be Tom Terrific and the Gronkaneers down in Tampa Bay smacking the dog shit out of the Carolina Panthers. The Carolina Panthers are pretty much done because in all actuality, Christian McCaffrey is going to be out for several weeks with an ankle injury. So Teddy Bridgewater has no help whatsoever. So I see them pretty much losing a lot of games pretty much for the rest of the year, Marcus.
I mean, we talking, you know, we still got a couple of more games to cover, right? But here's my thing, right? When you talking about the Carolina Panthers, Broncos, Rams, Lions, Falcons, Giants, there's a lineup. I think the Chiefs are still safe. But when you're talking about you starting off the season like this, 0-2, all of these teams 0-2, 0-2, 0-2, you're starting off the season like this, it's just not a very good look, especially teams like the Dolphins. You know, you're starting off 0-2. We already see what the rest of the season is going to look like for you.
But the Dolphins situation is different, Marcus, and I explain why. Because they're actually competing in the games. They're actually having an opportunity to win the game. Some of these other teams have no chance whatsoever. It's done. It's a wash. My Jets, Carolina. They just
you said my Jets. You have officially taken accountability. You said these are my Jets and they're goners. It's over.
So the next game on the slate, Marcus Mack, we're going to discuss the Arizona Cardinals beating up on the Washington football team. The Washington football team, they didn't have that miracle comeback in them this week as they did in week 1. They were down 17 to Philadelphia, ended up coming back. Kyler Murray was having none of that. Kyler Murray was balling on him. He was throwing touchdown passes, running for touchdowns. He was just straight killing them. It kind of makes me wonder, Marcus, and this is the truth. Kyler Murray is the size of a Publix bagger. Like he's so little, not for nothing if you think about it. And he just straight balls on him. So size doesn't matter when it comes to playing quarterback. If you're good enough, you're good enough. So all this talk at the combine where we're measuring how tall you are and this, that, and third, that shit is irrelevant.
Yeah, there's a couple of injuries too from this weekend, just this weekend alone.
Oh, there's a lot of injuries, Mark.
A lot of injuries.
We'll get into that after we finish the going through the scores. You had a really good game, Marcus Mack, a 58-yard game winner between the Chiefs and the Los Angeles Chargers. Buckner, the Chiefs kicker, had to kick a 53-yarder, which there was a false start. It got moved back 5 yards. He had to kick a 58-yarder, which got called for a timeout. Then he had to kick another 58-yarder, and he nailed it. So he kicked 3 kicks from 50-yard plus to win the game. I had all my money on Kansas City. They blew it for me. I don't know what was going on. Patrick Mahomes and them boys, they waited to the last minute to get involved. That game started at 4:25. They didn't get going until 6 o'clock. Then we also had the Baltimore Ravens versus the Houston Texans. The Houston Texans are now 0-2. Deshaun Watson got paid, and all of a sudden they can't do nothing. Lamar Jackson and them boys was killing them. Lamar was running all over them, throwing the ball all over them, finding Mark Andrews. Ingram got a touchdown as well. They were doing their thing. The big matchup to watch will be the matchup this weekend between the Kansas City Chiefs and the Baltimore Ravens, Marcus Mack. I'm so excited for that game. I really want to see who's going to be the number 1 team in the AFC because I think that's the game right there that solidifies who's the number 1 overall team in the AFC, Marcus Mack.
Yeah, then tonight is a pretty big game too. I think it's on now.
You got the Saints are up. Yeah, the Saints are up right now, 10-0 on the Raiders. Yeah, but the Raiders are moving the ball. They're in the red zone right now. I think we have one more game, Marcus. Two more games that we have to cover. We have to cover the Thursday game between the Cincinnati Bengals versus the Cleveland Browns. It's the Battle of Ohio. You got shitty versus shittier, and the Browns ended up winning that game 35-30. Even though I was very, very pleased with how Joe Burrow, the quarterback of the Cincinnati Bengals, played. I think he has a really, really bright future, Marcus Matt. He has that it factor. He looks like the real deal, real talk. And before we get into the magnificent Sunday night game that they had, we're going to talk about the New York Giants versus the Chicago Bears. You speaking on injuries, we mentioned Joey Bosa, we mentioned the Garoppolo, we mentioned Christian McCaffrey. Saquon Barkley is out for the year. He tore his ACL, Marcus Mack. In my opinion, Giants season is completely and utterly over if they don't have their best player. They ended up losing to the Chicago Bears, and that score was 17-13. And that should be a shame on Chicago. Chicago was completely shutting them out. And I guess in the second half, they just pumped the brakes and just chilled. But I feel bad. And, you know, a lot of these guys getting hurt early. We're only in week 2, and some of these guys are done for the season, Marcus.
Yeah, there was a whole line of injuries just this weekend alone. I'm saying some can be recovered from, but most, they're all out. They're all out for the season.
Now, we're going to talk about the best, absolutely hands down. And I'm a big Aaron Rodgers fan. We're going to talk about the best quarterback in the NFL right now, and that's Russell Wilson. Mr. Positivity. Mr.'s never said a negative thing out of his mouth, literally. He has thrown more touchdowns this year than he has thrown incompletions in 2 games, Marcus. He has 9 touchdowns in 2 games, Marcus. Now, this was the best game so far of the season. It was a 35 to 30 win for the Seattle Seahawks over the New England Patriots. But the reason why this was the best game was because Cam Newton was playing at an extremely high level, Marcus Mack. Cam is back. For all the doubters that doubt him, and it's all the people that was in Carolina, you fools, you idiots, you nimwits, Cam is back. He was scoring touchdowns, throwing touchdowns, playing like old Cam, Mr. Superman, cocky as ever. I loved every moment of this game, and it literally came down to the 1-yard line with almost 3 seconds left, and the Seattle Seahawks stuffed Cam Newton and ended up holding on to that win. Marcus, tell me what you think about all the doubters and the naysayers thinking Cam can't do it, and him coming out in 2 weeks showing, yo, I'm back.
I feel like, well, for one, you know that we've been heavy supporters of this move to New England from for a few months now. And I've always loved some Cam Newton, man. You know, for one, my introduction to Cam Newton was just his his independence as far as like social media goes. Like, he's always been heavy on having his own voice and, you know, saying what he feels, and he's a hard worker. And from early, we seen him getting together with the wide receivers over there in New England, and him getting his training started early. And, you know, I'm not surprised at all. I can't wait to see him in the playoffs. Like, I can't wait to see him, for real. I can't wait to see him make it. They won now.
Cam Newton should literally make a video with Meek Mill's song in the background from Dreams and Nightmares. Hold up, wait a minute. Y'all thought I was finished? Just like that. That should literally be what he should say.
Not yet, because they want to see him. You know, they want to see them get kicked out for the season. You know what I'm saying? They would love to see that, but I don't think Bill Belichick got a loss in him. You know what I'm saying?
E.T. did something for Cam Newton. I don't think it did it justice, honestly. I don't think it was right. I think they need to redo that. Yeah, it's there. He did something for Cam Newton, but I don't think it didn't hit the mark like it should hit the mark. Like, you know what I'm saying? It shouldn't hit them. Like, Cam is officially back. Cam is one of the top playing quarterbacks in the NFL as we speak. Aaron Rodgers, Patrick Mahomes, Lamar Jackson, Russell Wilson, Cam Newton. That is an actual fact.
Right. What do you think was the defining factor in this game, the Patriots and Seahawks game? What do you think was the defining factor?
Well, first off, you and I both discussed this on the pre-show, so let's give a shout-out to James White. It was very, very sad to hear the news about the loss of his father, and we hope his mother will survive. She's in critical condition. They were involved in a car crash down here in South Florida. His dad is a Miami-Dade police officer. So the Patriots are playing with heavy hearts, that's for sure, because they love that guy. And so does Russell Wilson, because Russell Wilson and James White were teammates in college at Wisconsin. So the factor in that game was whoever had the ball last was going to win the game. And that's exactly how the game played out. The game played out. New England had the ball. They were at the 3-yard line. All they had to do was stuff it in to win. And the defense for the Seattle Seahawks said, no, not today. Not on my watch. Because if you really think about it, it was a back-and-forth game, Marcus. So if Seattle scored, New England scored. New England scored, Seattle scored. Seattle scored 2, New England scored 3. Like, that's just the way it was. So this game was a game determined on whoever had the ball last. And at that very moment, that last play determined who was going to win. And Seattle said they weren't going to happen on their watch. That's all it was. That was the determining factor. The determining factor is who had the ball last and who was going to make one play. Everything else involved in that game was irrelevant. That last play with the ball in your hand, who's going to make this play right now determined the whole game.
Yeah, and that right there is what you call a great game. A great game full of touchdown, yards, plenty of rushing yards, plenty of passing yards. It was a great game. Not like that Dolphins game. I was so upset. Oh my God. I was so upset. I'm not even a Dolphins fan. I was upset.
You're not telling the audience what you're really mad about. The game was a good game. You're just mad about how the Dolphins couldn't hold on to a lead because you end up
At all. They had the opportunity so many times, bro. Listen, they are more disappointing than the New York Knicks, bro. I am like, oh, man.
The Dolphins are like that kid that's in your high school that ends up getting into a fight that has no business getting into a fight, and he's actually winning the majority of the fight, but then he gets knocked out. You're like, no!
You had it!
You had it!
Just when I believed in you.
It's like if he fought and then he beat the kid and the kid was like, one more round. And you're like, no, don't do it.
Nah, don't do it. No.
And he go back in and he get trashed.
Now, mind you, I bet on Buffalo. Right? But I'm looking at something inside of me. It's just like, come on, Miami, you can do this. Nah, man. Especially when I see that one-arm catch, you know, they in the end zone at this point. They're in the end zone. And they gave up that possession. I'm like, oh, my God. What is y'all doing? I will never, ever, ever tailgate or share the same space, sit next to, hang out with another Dolphins fan because their stress will leak over to me.
That's our week 2 recap of all the games that happened this weekend. Give a shout out to UCF, to Cam, UCF activist, overall sports enthusiast. UCF ended up beating up Georgia Tech by 21 points, so shout out to them. Most likely, if Cam feels better, he's definitely going to be on us for week 3 Effort Friday episode, Marcus Mack. Let me get into the promo real quick because I didn't get a chance to do the promo last episode. This part of the show is brought to you by our sponsor, ElCubanoSandwichShop.com. Use the promo code EAC and receive discounts on online pickups or delivery orders. Enjoy a natural pre-workout shot of that Cuban coffee to start your day. Have a café con leche or have that amazing steak sandwich. And make sure that you use the promo code EAC to save yourself some money. And that's El Cubano Sandwich Shop. And that's 954-906-5110. Remember, use the promo code to save yourself some bucks, EAC. And that's El Cubano Sandwich Shop in Coral Springs. I'm Emilio A. Colon. That's Marcus Mack. This is episode 90. Marcus, we have NBA playoff basketball to discuss. The Boston Celtics actually won one game. It's 2-1. Miami Heat are still up. Tell me how you felt about Tatum and them boys coming back. Gordon Hayward finally playing the game. How did you feel about Boston in game 3?
Yo, Tatum was playing at a high frequency, bro. I had a high frequency. I loved the last game that they played. They really showed up. Now, mind you, there was people that counted Boston out. And I'm like, listen, Boston has not come this far to give up and just conk out. No way in the world. I feel the same way about Denver. So, when you see these guys playing up against a team like Miami, now, mind you, Miami is driven. They do not. Listen, they want this. When I keep telling you, because there's a big difference. Same way how I told you that Denver wants this, but they're dealing with a team in LA where there's experience on the court. You're talking about playoff experience. Wanting it is a big factor. And the Boston Celtics is one of those teams that wants it.
So, Marcus Mack, for me, the Miami Heat are a bunch of guys that bring their lunch pails to work. Their wives pack their lunch, because they know it's going to be a long fucking day on the court. Every player on that team is a workhorse. Every player on that team is driven. Every player on that team knows they're gritty, they're dirty. They'll dive for loose balls. They'll play defense. There's no prima donnas on that team. But in game 3, with Gordon Hayward coming in, it made a huge difference because now it's not just Tatum, Kemba Walker, and Marcus Smart you got to pay attention to. Gordon Hayward makes a little bit there's that fourth player we need to put an eye on, and this, that, and third, and it caused a little bit of confusion, what made it easier for other people to do their thing. Because Gordon, he didn't do too much, but he did just enough. And Tatum even shouted him out in the post game, basically saying how much he loves playing with that guy because it makes things easy on Jaylen Brown. It makes things easy on Kemba Walker, Marcus Smart, and Tatum. So I think Boston ends up tying the series. I think this series ends up going 7 games, and I still think Boston pulls it off.
I like that. I still think Miami could take this.
I'm gonna give you a shout out now. The piece that you put on the EAC page about the Lakers winning Game 1 was awesome. But the piece that was about to come out that Anthony Davis ruined would have been 10 times better. Because for those listeners that don't know, Marcus Mack stated that LA was going to win Game 1 and Denver was going to win Game 2. And Anthony Davis shitted on your prediction.
Man, listen. Kobe was present that night. Kobe was present. And he wasn't on the sidelines. He was on the court. Were you talking about the sixth man? Remember the sixth man with Marlon Wayans? That was Kobe Bryant, man. He was there, man. Sleeping power, my friend, Kobe Bryant. But Anthony Davis, mind you, he played an excellent game the whole game. His whole game. Now, there's been,
Jokic played an excellent game.
Yeah, of course. But we're going to talk about Denver in a second. We're going to talk about that's a whole nother story. I feel like Murray had a down game, but Jokic definitely, he did his thing. But Anthony Davis, right? There's this argument right now about is Anthony Davis one of LeBron James or the best player that LeBron James has ever played beside? I feel like is Dwayne Wade. But if they take this championship, Anthony Davis has it.
I think so too, Marcus, and I'm gonna explain why I think so. Because Anthony Davis makes things much, much easier than any teammate that LeBron James had.
Right.
He makes things much, much easier. His length, he's big. He can shoot from outside. He can go inside. He is literally – it's amazing that a player of that size can be that efficient on the basketball court. So when they win the championship, if they win the championship, because I don't want to count on anybody yet, if the Lakers win the championship, then that will be proven correct, that he is the best teammate that LeBron James has ever had. Until then, it's going to be Dwayne Wade. Now, I want to talk about –
I'm talking about, listen, with Anthony Davis, we're talking about defensive player, free throws, threes, just overall, just an excellent player. I think overall, when you start talking about all around the board, Anthony Davis has it all, right?
He's an animal.
And this was at LeBron James' request, got him over there. Right? So that's the reason why it has to be an argument if he is the best player next to LeBron James. You understand? Because we all know LeBron James, he's been the NBA thought for a while. I'm saying he's been around. And LeBron James has been around. He's been around the world. You know what I'm saying? And, he's had a whole bunch of different partners, and they've all been excellent players. They've all been excellent players. Huh? No condoms. Raw dog. Because he's left his stench in every single team he's ever played with. He's left his mark. Raw doggy. So, but hands down, man, Anthony Davis, AD, is an absolute beast, and he did his thing for that last game. I'm waiting for Game 3. I think that's tomorrow at 9 o'clock.
It's disappointing, Marcus Mack, to be honest with you, because Jokic played his ass off. Murray didn't do that well. Michael Porter showed up to play. The regular guys for the Denver Nuggets, the other guys, they showed up to play. But I'm expecting to see the Murray from the Clippers series and the Murray from the Utah series. And so far in the first 2 games, I'm not seeing that. Game 1, I give you a pass because you in foul trouble. Game 2, I did not see that at all. I think that the length of the Lakers defense is starting to frustrate Murray a little bit.
You won't see it because the LA Lakers is not the Clippers.
Yeah, but Jokic,
not the Clippers.
Jokic, Marcus Mack noticed that in Game 2 and started to take over. He scored 11 straight points in the fourth quarter to put them up by 1 with hardly any time left. And then, obviously, Anthony Davis hits a really, really big 3 because the substitute, Mason Plumlee, decides to come in and have a brain fart, and he doesn't guard his man, and Jokic has to cover his man, and Davis hits the 3 over Jokic. But I just hope that Denver can make it a series, win a game or 2, make it go 6 or something like that. Otherwise, if they lose Game 3, it's a wrap. Call it a day for them because this is not the Clippers like how you said earlier. This is the LA Lakers. If the Lakers are up 3-0 or if the Lakers are up 3-1, they are not going to give Denver a chance at all.
Yeah, well, you know, Denver is definitely the comeback kings. I will not count them out until the Lakers is game 4, is 4-0, and the Lakers is up 1 minute left in the game. They're up by 20. That's the only way I'm counting out the Nuggets. That's the only way.
As long as Murray's girlfriend is in the house, they have a chance to do it. Well, that's going to conclude episode 90 of the EAC Show. I'm Emilio A. Colon. That is Marcus Mack. Make sure you check us out next episode. Click like, subscribe on all podcast platforms and on YouTube. Don't forget, hopefully, if Cameron is feeling better, he will be on for week 3 of NFL Football Effort Friday. We appreciate you guys. We'll see you guys next episode.
Oh, sugar honey iced tea. It's the EAC Show.